Hi, my name is Clint Johnson. I'm a private lands biologist with Arkansas Game and Fish Commission, and my job is to help landowners manage habitat for wildlife. So the first bit of advice I have for any landowner that calls me is figure out what you want to do with the property, what your goals and objectives are, what you want the property to do for you. And that sounds silly, but you'd be surprised how many people I work with that owned a very expensive property for decades sometimes, and they really don't know what they want out of it. Do you want wildlife habitat? So do you want deer habitat, quail habitat? Do you need timber income? Do you need cattle income on the property? What do you really want that property to do for you? After you've got that figured out, figure out what kind of resource professionals can help you do that, and reach out to multiple resource professionals. So if you've got timberland, get in touch with a forester. Obviously, you've heard that before today. And if you're interested in wildlife habitat, get in touch with a wildlife biologist. One thing you're going to notice when you get in touch with these different resource professionals is they're going to tell you different things, and they're going to tell you some things that are the same. Now, if you hear the same thing from multiple people, like you're probably going to hear today, that probably means it's pretty important, so you might want to listen to them. And people are confused when they hear different things. Keep in mind that these different resource professionals have different backgrounds, and they may be coming from different directions for different reasons. So the question becomes, which one of them is right? Well, probably all of them are right for different reasons. So for example, if I make a site visit with a forester, I'm probably going to agree with about 90%, 95% of what that forester is saying. So we're after the same things. We want healthy forests. That's good for wildlife. We want the trees to be healthy, to have enough room to grow. Some of the areas we might differ may be how often thinnings need to take place, or the basal area after a thinning event. I'm typically going to recommend cutting more trees more often than a forester. So again, which of us is right? Probably both of us. So we may be on kind of two extremes of a spectrum, and that landowner may want to land somewhere in the middle. So that's up to you as the landowner. That's why you need to reach out to different professionals to get different viewpoints and figure out where you want to be on that spectrum. So for me to manage the wildlife habitat, the biggest thing I'm looking for is I'm actually managing sunlight. I want sunlight hitting the ground to get understory vegetation. And we see quite a bit of understory vegetation behind me. And what we're looking for is herbaceous and some wildflowers. So we see green stuff that's not trees and vines, so that's good. And we see some color, so we see some wildflowers. Ideally we'd want something blooming throughout the year, so multiple species blooming at different times. So for me as a biologist, I think about trees as the roof to a house. So you do need a roof, that is important, but a roof doesn't make the house. You still need interior walls, you still need your kitchen, you still need a place to sleep and a place to eat is what the wildlife are looking for. And the place to sleep and place to eat, those are going to come from the herbaceous ground layer. So the way you manage that is by removing trees, by making some canopy gaps, and putting sunlight on the ground. You'd also need to manage what is growing out there with maybe an herbicide application, skidder spraying, timber stand improvement, hack and squirt. Could be chainsaw removal of something like cedar trees that don't resprout. Prescribed fire is often a component of that. The property we're on today, we're dealing with a bottomland scenario, so fire is really not a part, but the water regime is doing the same thing that the fire would on this property, but fire is typically important on most properties out there. So again, figure out what you want that property to do for you. Talk to some resource professionals, figure out which direction you want to go, get a management plan in place, and go from there. We're at a different part of the property now, looking at some ongoing management activity. So with forestry, a lot of what we're doing is picking which trees we want to keep, encouraging those trees, letting them grow right, and removing the trees that we don't want. Well, we do the same thing with wildlife management. So we've got species, quail, deer, turkey, songbirds, whatever the case we want to manage for, and we've got species out here that we don't want on the landscape. So what we're looking at today is feral hog control. Feral hogs are not native to North America. They're Eurasian in origin and brought over here obviously for food resources. Pigs are very smart. They're very adaptable. They can adapt to almost any landscape condition, any habitat condition out there, and they frequently escape farms. Some are purposely turned loose for hunting, but many of them escape accidentally, and very quickly they can set up high densities of animals that are really bad for the ecosystem. So no matter what reason you're managing your land for, be that water quality, row crops, pasture, timber, wildlife management, pigs are something you don't want out here. So these landowners have done a really good job working with some local USDA trappers, allowing them access to the property. As we see here, running some kind of maintenance bait sites just for monitoring purposes to see if pigs are filtering back into the area. The USDA is a good resource for that. Game and Fish Commission does some trapping as well, but again, getting a hold of somebody that knows what they're doing if you've got pigs to help you with that problem. So for me, growing up in central Arkansas, I can remember when we first started getting some feral hog populations, and we thought it was pretty cool. We thought this is a new animal we can hunt. We don't have hunting restrictions, season restrictions, bag limit restrictions on them. This is going to be a lot of fun. Well, the new wore off of it real quick when we could see the damage that they were causing. So from a game and fish standpoint, these are not game animals. They're technically classified as feral livestock. So hunting regulations on private land don't apply to them. Shoot them anytime, day or night, any weapon, anytime during the year. And we would like landowners to look at feral hogs as vermin to be exterminated. This is not a new game species. This is not a good thing. This is a problem that needs to be addressed. So there's not going to be any good, any long-term good coming from pigs on your property. So if you have pigs on your property, by all means reach out to USDA, reach out to Game and Fish Commission, reach out to somebody that can help you with trapping. If you don't have feral pigs on your property, keep an eye out for them. So be looking for hog wallows, mud on trees as they scrape the mud off the trees that they wallow in, signs of rooting, tracks. Running small bait sites like these with trail cameras are a really effective tool to figure out. Usually you can pick up pigs with these trail cameras before you start seeing pig damage, and we want to address that problem before you have any damage. So if you have pigs, we'd love to help you with that.